Welcome to Aston Originals. Today we're talking to Dr. Duane Mellor about alcohol consumption, healthy New Year's resolutions and how we can make them into regular daily habits. Hi Duane, thanks for joining me. Can you just introduce yourself firstly?
So I'm Dr. Duane Mellor. I'm a senior lecturer at Aston Medical School. I'm also a dietitian and I have a role as an Associate Dean, College of Health and Life Sciences.
So Duane, we've just gone through a really busy Christmas and New Year period. There's been a lot of parties, a lot of alcohol consumption, people catching up with friends. Obviously, many of us tend to overdo it at this time of year. And then we're into 2023 with lots of New Year's resolutions. And I know a lot of people tend to center those around creating healthy habits. I assume that's why dry January has become such a big thing as well. You've recently written an article actually around alcohol consumption and sort of myths around some of the hangover cures. Can we just do a quick 5 questions on some of those myths before we get into New Year's resolutions and how we can maybe create, continuous healthy habits? So lining the stomach.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work. You can take things like milk, which slows down the emptying of your stomach because of the protein and fat. But as most alcohol is absorbed in the stomach, it can have a minimal effect.
Okay, what about having a hearty breakfast?
See, there is some evidence from that for rats because of amino acid in some of the meat in a cooked breakfast called cysteine, which helps them to turn over the alcohol and get rid of it. Doesn't really work in humans. And concerningly, there's been a number of supplements that have been marketed as hangover cures or hangover treatments, which haven't got approved claims and shouldn't really be marketed that way.
And what about drinking coffee to sober up?
See, coffee can contain caffeine, which is a stimulant, which can make you feel more alert, but it doesn't do anything about the clumsiness and the other sort of side effects of alcohol. So actually, caffeine and alcohol together can increase your risk of injury. And that includes having energy drinks and alcohol, so it's something to be careful with.
Does water clear your head before bed?
So water can help with some of the symptoms of a hangover, which is dehydration. But a lot of the headache symptoms are due with the compounds produced, the toxins from breaking down the alcohol. So it'll do nothing about that.
Okay, and what about mixing the grape and the grain? So that's wine and beer.
See, that's probably an effect of putting maybe a few beers and a few wines and the total amount of alcohol being higher, rather than if you have just a small glass of wine and a small beer, it's a total amount that's going to be a problem, not necessarily mixing the two.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up. I know I've certainly sort of tried to use some of those tactics in the past. Let's move on to New Year's resolutions. So by January, it's become such a big thing. I think probably all of us have given it a go at some point. Do you think it's a good way to instill healthy New Year's resolutions? And just think about that, how can then New Year's resolutions become healthy habits around alcohol that don't just exist within 1 month?
I think one of the challenges with something like dry January is a sudden stop.
Mm.
For some people, I know brilliantly, so I can take away temptation, I don't have a problem, and I can then embed things later on, so I drink less through the year. For other people, it can be a very sort of, the hard stop can be, I'm missing out, I'm really feeling quite bad. And for those people, it might be better to have a planned sort of smaller amount staged out the month or then through the year, so they can control, so they learn to enjoy that behavior, be it alcohol, it could be a food behavior, in smaller amounts rather than thinking, I need to do that, and we tend to overconsume. So that could be having a large amount on a night out, or it could be sort of eating in a way that's less healthy. So I think it depends. And also we need to consider that a lot of our retail trade in terms of hospitality is struggling at the moment. So if everyone did dry January and we went back February or March, some of those pubs might not be there. So we need to balance out how we want our economy to work, but also how we behave ourselves. It's a very complicated issue.
Okay, so alcohol-free beers, a lot of people are drinking those throughout the year, but maybe they're turning to those, at the new year when they're doing dry January. Do you think this is an effective way of changing consumption habits?
If you actually look at it, a lot of younger people, the 20s and 30-year-olds, are going for low alcohol products. And we've had a rapid change in these products. They used to be sort of mocked as being not very tasty and not being like a traditional sort of beer. But the way we make them now, they actually they remove the alcohol without actually damaging the flavour compounds, so we can get actually good tasting products. So if you remove the alcohol, that's one of the health risk problems with some of these low alcohol products or no alcohol products. The other thing, if we're taking the alcohol out, are we leaving lots of sugar behind? Some of these no alcohol alcohol replacements, more around the mocktails and some of those sort of mixer type drinks. A little bit of the case with beer, possibly a little bit of the case with some of the alcohol-free wines. We need to then look at how we can have low sugar products as well as low alcohol products. So we can potentially have what could be an interesting drink, which may have health benefits because of the plant compounds in there, which may have beneficial effects on the health. So I think there's definitely a growth area there. We are looking at younger people wanting to enjoy these different drinks. And if you go back to the basics, if you're not drinking alcohol in the pub, you've either got something like a cola drink, lemon and lime, or water. We need a grown-up drink that's low alcohol that we can enjoy and socialise with.
And what about mocktails? I mean, that's becoming also a sort of valid option in the pub. I know a lot of pubs offer mocktails, but personally, I've tried them and have found them quite sugary. What about mocktails?
So in some ways, they can actually have even more sugar in than a regular soft drink because you think they tend to be based on fruit juices and then you have sugary syrups on top of that. So it can be a very high calorie, high sugar drink. So they're not going to be great for your health. They won't have the alcohol in, but if you're consuming several of those, it's not just your teeth, it's extra calories you'll be consuming, which if you're trying to sort of follow a healthier diet, it's probably not the best choice.
That's why I might be sticking to a Diet Coke then.
Yeah. Sadly, water's the best drink, but that's probably not the most interesting. But the diet soft drinks, or as we get growth in these lower alcohol, lower sugar products out there, I'm sure they would be a nice sort of alternative, mature adult drink that will be in the market.
So if I've just gone through dry January and I want to relate my alcohol consumption, do you have any tips for me to how I can kind of do that throughout the year more effectively rather than just, having a month off and then going back to regular sort of consistent drinking?
I think one of the first tips will be to know what an alcohol drink is. We talk about a glass of wine, but a glass of wine can be anything from 1 unit up to almost a bottle, which can be up to 14 units. Depending on the strength of the 7 units, probably 8 units mostly, but you can get some very strong wines if you're talking about the fortified ones. So it's actually knowing what a drink is, so you can actually space that out through the week. And if you look at the recommendations, and they're more simple now in the UK, they're both the same for men and women, of not more than 14 units per week. And it's best to spread those over the week, so we're not sort of having them all on a Friday or Saturday night, and maybe have 1 or 2 dry days or alcohol-free days a week. They're spreading out. So if you're looking at sort of 14 units per week, a bottle of wine will typically be around 9 units. It's spreading that through most of the week, not just on possibly 2 nights. Not saying that's how you do drink it, but the general advice for people listening.
So it's the old advice of avoid the binge drinking and moderation throughout.
And exactly, and the other thing to be aware of is a lot of beers and craft beers can be quite strong. So if you talk about half a pint of beer being a unit, that's probably around about 3.5% alcohol. And we're getting a lot of beers at least 4, 5, even up to 7, 8%. So you can get in the small can 3 or even more units. And so it's understanding that, if you're talking 14 units per week, you've got a 330 ml bottle or can, that can be sort of almost a quarter of your alcohol in just one small bottle.
It's a lot. Well, thank you for joining us, Duane. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more content. You can follow us on Twitter as well at Aston Originals.